my friend Eddie George, back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Eddie?
Rich, I'm doing wonderful, man. This is my favorite time of the year, brother. It's Thanksgiving, doing my shopping, getting my turkeys ready for a deep fry. There's a bit of a chill in the air, here in Nashville. Leaves are changing, and got some great football games coming up this weekend. And you're absolutely right. It's, number 2 versus number 3. You wouldn't want it any other way, man, to go down like this for pretty much all the marbles to get into the Big Ten Championship. Of course, Ohio State is going to take a bit of some Michigan State to possibly beat Penn State for them to go to the Big Ten Championship game. But, of course, if Michigan wins, they go. So I love it, man. I love it when everything's on the line in a matchup like this.
Let's be honest here, Eddie, though. I mean, it's perfect setup for Ohio State because you win, you're in the college football playoff, you stick it to Michigan, and you don't have to play in the Big Ten championship game, which is, in my mind, a waste. We don't need a Big Ten championship game. Every conference needs one now because everybody else does it. I think this is perfect. You could beat Michigan, stick it to the maize and blue, and then take the rest of the month off. That's perfect.
Well, it appears that way. I think, if they do win, it's not to play for the Big Ten Championship, but I don't know which way the committee's going to lean. It really depends on who else wins their conference champions. I mean, if SC wins out or if Washington wins out, I don't know. I'm on the side of, you have to win your conference in order to get a seat at the table, to be one of those 4 teams. So, I don't know if Ohio State winning this out and if it's good for the college game and the playoff system as it is, because it means, well, what does a conference champion mean? What does it mean for the games during the course of that year? So it's a very sticky situation with the committee's going to be in if it all pans out where Penn State wins, Ohio State wins, and what happens next. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I know. I'm with Eddie George here, but let's be honest here. I mean, Michigan in this position, let's just say if Michigan beats Ohio State, that means Michigan would have beaten Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin. So in order for them to make the college football playoffs, they got to go beat Wisconsin again? I mean, what sense does that make? It makes no sense at all. But again, that's an old school thing. But back when you went to school, I went to school, there was no Big Ten championship game. It was what
it was. I mean, you played during the course of the year.
Right.
But nowadays, I think, this is, for all practical purposes, the semifinal round, if you will, or
nice.
Final round
right.
before the semifinals. You know what I mean? So
sure.
That's what we're all begging for. It's not going to be a perfect system. And if Michigan, wins, if they so happen to beat Ohio State,
there you go.
They'll have to prove that they can do it again. So let's not, building excuses now. Oh, we beat Ohio State. We shouldn't have to play. No, you got to finish the job. Can you finish the job?
Yeah, but if you finishing the job means take the rest of the month off. Why is that? That's not fair.
Well, again, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to be voted into the 14 playoff if they don't win their conference.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's just my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to happen.
You think Ohio State? If Ohio State beats Michigan, sits there at 10-1, and watches Penn State maybe beat up with Wisconsin, and one of those, they would take Wisconsin or Penn State over Ohio State. They would do that.
It's a tough position to be in because they said that they're putting a lot of weight on winning your conference. I mean, Ohio State, they win their side of the ledger, let alone their conference. So I mean, listen, Ohio State clearly is one of the 4 best teams in the country. If not the best 2. But the way the format is, the way that they're doing this, it causes controversy. And I think it's an argument that you should expand the playoff system, whether you add 2 more teams or you add 8, a total of 8, where you have all 5 conference champions and 3 at large. So I think they may in the future have to change things up to appease everybody in the situation, because clearly I think Ohio State is, if they finish off 10-1, one of the 4 best teams in the country.
Eddie George, Heisman Trophy winner, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. I had Urban Meyer on the show yesterday, Eddie. Because I'm a fair and balanced guy.
Was he fired up?
He was. He called it personal. He called this game personal.
Oh, it is. is very personal. And you know it is. You know it's personal. We've gone back and forth through the years, Rich, on our own stuff. So, all gloves are off come Saturday. Matter of fact, the gloves are off now. I mean, when there's Michigan week, there is nothing like that. It's pure hatred. Listen, I remember when we played them in '95 and we were ranked number 2 in the country. They have probably lost 4 games up to that point. I mean, really underachieved that year for Michigan, and they just put it on us. Bianca Matuka ran wild on us. He had well over 300 yards, ruined our chances at Rose Bowl, ruined our chances at the national championship. And that game always sticks out in my mind. So, yes, this week is very personal. And if a fight breaks out, so be it. It's supposed to happen.
Did anything approach that sense of personal in your professional career, maybe going against Ray Lewis and the Ravens? Anything come close to that, Eddie?
Oh, yeah, definitely the Ravens. No, there's no question about that. The Ravens for sure, for me and the Titans. We both organizations hate each other. The teams hate each other. I mean, it was no love lost. If you lost your life on the field that day, then so be it. That's how we looked at it.
Well, and can you take up for Jeff Fisher right now, Eddie? Because here in this town, folks are already wondering if he should be the coach here in Los Angeles, and it's 10 games in, and he's a handful of losses shy from being the losingest coach in the history of the NFL. And you know him, and you know what he's like. What is your sense of Jeff Fisher's job status in Los Angeles, Eddie?
Well, I think it's week to week. One week he wins. He saves his job. The next week he loses. Of course, he's on the hot seat. And, people want a winner. I mean, that comes along with the territory. And I played under Jeff, and he has a system of philosophy. And right now, he has great defense. He's a great running back, but the quarterback play has been erratic at best, and it needs to be solved. I think that's the one issue that he's having is ways to score points. And, you can't deny the fact that he's built this team inside out. He's got a strong defensive line, offensive line now. He's got to get consistent quarterback play. And, if people don't look at the big picture and look at, where he is now, if he wins out, possibly make a playoff team, he could continue to build off of that. So I believe in Jeff. He's definitely a player's coach to me. He's done an outstanding job everywhere he's been. And I think, people should just try to be patient a little bit longer.
Who are you voting for the Heisman?
I have no clue. I think, look, this is a tough year, Rich. I mean, Lamar Jackson appears to be that guy. Last Thursday night, they got embarrassed by Houston on national television. He didn't have a great game. It's a hard choice this year. I mean, Jabril Peppers certainly deserves recognition. Mayfield also deserves recognition. I personally like this kid out of Vanderbilt, linebacker, Zach Cunningham. He's not on a winning team, but, God, he certainly looks like the best player in the country when you turn on the film. And he's out. I mean, he's probably leading the country in tackles for loss. I mean, he is a machine out there on the field. Just makes play after play. So it's going to be an interesting year to see who wins the Heisman for sure. I have no idea at this point in time who I want to vote for. And typically I wait until after the conference championship games to vote if I vote in anyway.
Okay, Eddie, thanks for calling in, and I'm going to take that as a yes for Jabril Peppers. Okay, so that's Peppers is your Heisman vote. Okay.
We'll see. If he has a Charles Woodson type of game this weekend with the victory, he might get my vote. But hopefully that won't happen.
Okay. And are you going to the game? You going to be there?
No, I'm not going to go, unfortunately. My son, he plays for Vanderbilt, so I'll be going to the UT Vanderbilt game this weekend. But you better believe at 12 o'clock Eastern, my television will be on. I'll be nice and sauced up. I'll have my second round of leftovers, and trust me, I'm going to be good to go, ready to rock and roll. Watching television. Okay.
Well, I'll be there too, Eddie. Not physically with you, but I'm going to be at that television myself. It's breakfast.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be tweeting you back and forth. You better believe that. You know that's going to happen.
Yeah, but Eddie, I put my phone away. I'm not to be trusted with the Twitter.
Oh, Rich.
I know.
Oh, come on. You can You
Come on.
have self-discipline. You're not one of those guys that have a knee-jerk reaction and just tweet.
I don't know.
Have no business tweeting.
The Big Ten refs really get under my skin.
Oh, now the Big Ten refs are okay. I see. All right. Now we're building excuses, just like a Michigan man.
Oh, my gosh. Eddie George, who is 1-2-1 against Michigan, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Hey, man, you have a good one.
You too. You too. There's Eddie George.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.